world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts.
Here, if you have a beard, random men are going to always walk up to you and try to lick your beard.
Ew, that's so disgusting. Oh.
You're one of Mitten's kittens.
Hold on, so I'm like, nope.
Oh, well, you lost all your fleets.
Oh, fuck. Not what we intended. Oh, God. What do we do?
The Meta Show.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to hour 7 of our 16-hour stream today. This is the Meta Show, myself with TheMittani, and we're going to be going over some LowSec politics with you. We're going to be going into CCP Please section, where we're going to talk about some of the changes that we've seen this week, or rather lack thereof. And then we have Rick Reynolds coming to join us, aka Carneros, leader of Bastion Alliance and EVE Online. So to kick things off, guys, we're going to jump straight into it, feet first, into the CSM drama that we've seen this week. Have you looked into that at all?
Well, I mean, the thing about the CSM is sort of near and dear to my heart in kind of a weird way, because, you know, I was on CSM 6 and I was elected into CSM 7, and there was sort of this pesky little wizard hat thing that happened. And
You're a wizard, Harry.
Yeah, and then I found myself basically like watching the CSM from the sidelines, and people every year will ask me whether I want to run again or not. And what ended up happening was, of course, I inflicted that on dear poor Scion and dear poor Indy, who have had to be front and center on that.
You don't feel very bad about that, do you?
No, I don't.
Not at all.
You know, the CSM has its uses, but it really depends upon what the representatives make of it. And I think that this is a perfect example of that. What happened, for those of you who weren't, you know, CSM watchers, is that basically they've published how many meetings were attended by which representatives. And the fact that Gorga, who is the nominal leader of Nulli Secunda Alliance, was elected to the CSM, and the entire CSM basically demanded that Gorga resign and be replaced by somebody who will actually be active, because he just doesn't do anything. And that's been a recurring problem on the CSM. And I mean, I think that one of the things that is important, and we've never really talked about this before, this is kind of off the cuff, you know, the CSM is old now. Like, it was created originally as a response to developer misconduct and CCP, like the T20 scandal way back in the day in 2007 or so.
It seems like so long ago.
It really does, which is kind of terrifying. But, you know, what CCP ended up doing with that was creating the Internal Affairs Division, which solved the sort of developer misconduct problem. And many of the people who were behind the original white paper for the CSM are no longer with the company. So the fact that there's been such a recurring problem for so long with absentee CSMs, this time it's Gorga, previously it was Matthias Ortero. In CSM 6 we had somebody who never did anything, but I've already forgotten their name. You know, I think that this is sort of an opportunity to potentially reform the whole thing. You know, instead of just going, here was this white paper, we should stick with it. Like, there needs to be a way to get rid of people who don't turn up to meetings. There needs to be a way to get rid of people who don't do anything, even if they do turn up to meetings. And, you know, I think actually now they have a system where if somebody is removed, they'll be replaced. So
well, I think I read somewhere that they will only replace up to X number of people that get removed. Like, you already have one replacement so far, because Core Blood Brothers from the Pravi block vote actually has resigned. He resigned.
That's true.
Weeks ago.
That's true.
And
he was replaced with Gorski?
Yeah, Gorski.
Carr. That's right. Now, I mean, Gorski's a good egg. I like that guy. Core Brothers, of course, is a great guy as well, and I think that he just got sick of all the BS. I have no real details there, but usually when people resign from the CSM, if they have been active, it's not because, oh, I just don't have time for it anymore. That's the polite public way of it. He was probably just fed up with whatever was going on over there. I think it's kind of silly to have a rule where you can only replace so many people. You should, if 5 people go inactive, they should all replace all 5 with people who are active. So I think who's up next is actually UAX Death, the leader of pretty much the entirety of the Galactic Northeast. Death is like my counterpart in being a block leader.
Yeah, I did see the poster that he was next in line to move up for the next time someone gets replaced. And what was interesting about this whole CSM drama is the same time that this was posted about the resignation, a spreadsheet was linked by Corbex, or from Corbex rather, where they actually tracked all of the meeting participation. Like, here, let me see if I've got it pulled up. Let me see if I can throw up a full stream real quick.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty interesting because there's multiple ways that you can be active on the CSM, and what's really strange is when you have people who you know have opportunities to be at these meetings because of their real life circumstances. They're around all the time. They don't have a day job or something like that, and they're active. It's weird. You see some people who are CSMs who will be active on like Reddit and Twitter and in like public facing forums, but they won't be active in the actual meetings where you have to kind of get down and dirty and work, I guess.
Exactly.
So that's this has revealed a lot. I mean, you can fake a lot of things. You can say that you're doing a lot of work and have it not exposed. You can say you're doing a lot of work in hidden channels, but if you're not turning up to the frickin' meetings at all. So I'm trying to look at the spreadsheet here, and it's pretty impressive. So.
Yeah, well, a lot of people mention that Manny has has even less meetings than Gorga, but that people aren't trying to vote him off. And also, if you look throughout the entire thread, you see that everyone on the CSM actually comments that Manny does a ton of commentating on what the changes and talking in the chat channels. He just can't make the meetings because he has a weird time zone that he plays on.
That's true. And what is interesting, you see here, of course, Wingspan has only 4 meetings attended. Manny has 2 meetings attended, but he has extenuating circumstances. Core Blood Brothers apparently had just mostly tuned out and then resigned, and Gorga had only hit 3. So it's actually just it's an interesting thing to see some degree of sunlight. Like you can say a lot of things, but when data like this turns up, that can't be faked or schmoozed away. Like that is the reality, and it's nice to see that come to the CSM.
Yeah, exactly. And someone just pointed out in chat, there's an emergency meeting written down there. That's interesting.
That is interesting.
Too bad there's not a date next to it, so we could see when it was.
Emergency meeting. I didn't actually think that got out into the public. That's the first I've heard of that. That's. Yeah. I'm gonna actually dig this spreadsheet up here now so I can take a look at it live on TV. We've got the names of the meetings. Emergency meeting. That's actually one of the first ones that they had, and I have no idea what that would have been about. That is an interesting question for us to ask the next time we have someone from the CSM on. Emergency meeting. Ooh, spooky.
Dig into it. All right, so
I'll see what I can do.
Then we have the Brave SOTA that was released this week. I didn't really go through it too much. Like I said, I briefly looked over it. They claim that they're going to stay in LowSec, try to capture as many POCOs as possible. Other than that, I saw a lot of herfing about try to strengthen their FC core and just blah blah blah. Or trying to rebuild.
Right.
So I mean, that's what I expected from Brave SOTA at this point.
Well, I see that Nancy Crow is now in charge of Brave, which is a really interesting thing. They've kind of gotten rid of the whole system where they had Licton there, and I guess they're back in LowSec and sort of settling in and not really. And they've got to try to reestablish themselves. I mean, it sucks to see Brave having come to this, but on the other hand, maybe that's where they will be happiest. And they've gotten beyond the entire Licton drama, which is just great to see finally. Like, I'm glad that. Oh, and best of all, somebody brought me coffee, which I desperately need. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is on. You know that you have succeeded as a streamer when people will bring you red eyes right in the middle of your stream. I'm a happy man. But there's not too much to say about Brave, because I mean, the fact of the matter is, and this is sort of an overarching point that we have to deal with when we're talking about what exists in FozzieSov, is, and now that we don't have a CCP guest on, we can just go back to calling it FozzieSov and hacking.
Yes.
That's just
we don't be politically correct.
Sorry, but the thing here about this is that LowSec doesn't really produce any news or any major stories. So like when Brave is in LowSec, it's like, hey, before they went to nullsec, they were these happy, fun guys, and it's all good, right? They're in LowSec, no big deal. Herp to derp. No real major stories. Lots of goodwill from the community because none of the flaws were exposed by them actually turning up into nullsec, where all of the stuff came out. Now that they're back in LowSec, there's not too much news. But that's kind of a thing that many of us are going to be facing. Like, we've got a couple points to talk about that are actual nullsec news in the next few minutes. But, Brave situation, LowSec situation, Wormhole Spaces situation, barring a few major fights, are pretty much what we're facing in nullsec as a whole, which is bad.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the news websites, even News 24, TMC, you see a couple of like skirmishes, but these skirmishes are over nothing. Like, they're not even over the actually links. Like, they're not even reinforcing systems or anything like that. Just like fights that happen to happen. Like there's a wormhole fight that like reached 36 billion, and 36 billion is not a big fight. Like
it used to be a pretty standard issue. Like hey, like so it used to be before FozzieSov hit, our relevance threshold for reporting a story on TMC would be 25 billion ESCO damage, right? And the first real fight that we saw that was an actual thing was like a red versus blue like event, like a player event where a bunch of people brought stuff to the table and lost a bunch of paladins and expensive battleships. And now, like, it's just a litany of, like, here's a fight of 2 billion ISK here, 2 billion ISK there. You know, whoever it was that decided that they liked this already existed in LowSec. And now it's endemic through nullsec, and people are not happy about it. That's just the reality. It could be fixed. Like, there is a path to victory. This is not an all doom and gloom thing. Remember, FozzieSov has been improved relentlessly, and there's, I think, just a few more tweaks around the edges that could solve this. But at least a consensus has emerged. But before we go into ranting, I suppose we should talk about the actual bit of nullsec news, not the Brave stuff, but the upcoming, like basically the first pseudo-serious war we've seen between Triumvirate and Red Alliance in the Northeast.
Yeah, that's an interesting war. Reading through the information on it is RA actually poked Triumvirate, which RA, according to Tri, didn't take part into the XIX war like they promised they would when Black Legion and Solar and Tri approached them about it. They said that, we'll be there full force, no problem, then they just didn't show up. They got their space and then just sat back.
Yeah.
So RA coming out of this and attacking Tri kind of pissed Tri off. So Tri went and counter-reinforced their systems, and I think over the period of 2 days that the reinforcement timer was, 850 command nodes came out of reinforced.
850. Wow. I mean, I think I'd rather found like I think this makes me like next time I'm doing my taxes, I'll be like, wow, this isn't so bad. At least I don't have 850 command nodes. Here's my 1040. Thank you, IRS.
I would prefer to go drop passes on moons than do 850 nodes.
Dude,
that sounds
people crapped on FozzieSov, right? But FozzieSov was actually really good. And it was a really interesting dynamic. You had a lot of meta that took place in the pre-Dominion SOV system because config starbase was the most important role. Spies could offline towers, you could blow up towers with dreadnoughts. There was just a lot of interesting stuff that happened. Kiting was a mechanic. There's no more kiting in the system at all. But again, we don't want to get too negative about this because what we do want to point here is that the 850 command nodes is ridiculous, but the command nodes are a variable that CCP can adjust. Like that is simply, that's just an integer. Like they can say, instead of having a bazillion command nodes spawn and everybody goes screw this, they could simply say, if, tennis rules is something I've heard, spawning a total of 5 instead of a total of up to 20. Per each contest. I mean, 5 sounds very reasonable, and if people continue contesting it, they can spawn more. But we are now this month, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be seeing the first few iterations of real, honest-to-God SOV work, not like, screwing around trollceptor stuff. The Tri and RA thing is an example. The Imperium's Reavers have been just got back from a test deployment to test our new war strategy that we're going to be deploying, and so stuff's getting real, and we're gonna get a chance to really see some of the flaws of the system, which sounds like a segue.
Segue. What type of segue?
Flaws of this system, segueing into talking about the latest iteration on the trollceptor.
Other words, it's time for CCP, please.
Oh,
please, CCP.
CCP, please. Here we go. All right, let's do this. Are we gonna have our little segue thing? Oh, here we go. I see it now. I'm on a slight delay, guys. So by the time you hear these words,
the coffee
CCP logo hasn't. I swear. All right. So what I'm concerned about, and what's interesting, is that there's been a lot of discussion about the trollceptor problem, right? The idea that you have all these people running around and interceptors hacking things with their Entosis links. What's curious to me is that I am worried that because CCP has basically been on vacation all this month, that if there is an iteration on this problem, that they will fix something on interceptors without realizing that the meta has moved on.
Right.
We've already found that some of the most ideal ways to mess with people with hacking, and it's been done to us and we've done it to other people, is using omens or other extremely fast cruisers with battleship-size MWDs on them. And they're just zooming around with links and snakes and things like that. You can end up going 8,000 meters per second. Now, we can counter these things. What's that?
So I was looking at the fits for these, and they actually, what they do in their high slots is they fit drone-like augmenters, and that allows them to fit extra drones. So the Omen, the typical one we see is the Omen. You just take one Omen with a 500 MN micro warp drive, and it has a 40 M3 drum bay and bandwidth, I think. So what you can do is you can fit DLAs and fit extra light drones, which means the only things that can catch you are typically interceptors. You send 8 drones at them and you just zonk them.
Now that's brilliant. I mean, that's an excellent example of how, there's all of this discussion about interceptors this, interceptors that before FozzieSov came out, and yet, again, player ingenuity and the size of the brain trust of the EVE Online player base is almost always going to be able to defeat any kind of soft limit like that. So, again, the only thing that can catch that is either a Titan, which is what we do. We just drop Titans on them. Yeah. Leviathan works fine. You drop a Titan on it, you target paint it, and bam, it's dead. But most people who are small soft holders or just in general don't.
Sorry, I actually confused drone-like augmenters with the other mod. It's drone-like augmenters increase range.
That is good. And speaking of the brain trust, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. That is why we have our people watching and chatting, such that when we screw up, you call us on it. Thank you. But yeah, I mean, basically, it's an interesting thing. Most people don't have Leviathans that they can drop on everything to be able to deal with this. But this moves into a broader discussion of what do we do about this? I mean, the problem with unrestrained troll ship hacking is that it defeats the purpose of the system. The purpose of the system in any place is you put a risk on the table. Now we're lowering the risk. The point of FozzieSov was basically to lower the risk to attack large empires, which is great, A+. But you still need to risk something. In the old system, if you had to attack a structure, you had to put capital ships or large fleets or something on the table at risk of being destroyed in order to create a reinforcement timer. Now we have a system where you can basically risk nothing, because these ships, if they actually are attacked or anything like that, they can buzz away. There's absolutely nothing put on the table. So the balance between an attacker and defender is just stupid right now. And anybody who says otherwise has an agenda. Of course, I have an agenda too, but I'm right, as is everybody else who's been telling me this, because this idea did not come from me. As usual.
Well, that's the way it is. And the problem with these big NWD setups is they NWD so fast that by the time you land on something that can hit it, it's already out of range. So typical things that would take care of this 500 MN ship that has no tank at all, by the time you land to actually shoot at it, it's already burned away from you at the X amount of range. Yeah. And if you actually are in like a sniper ship that can hit it at extended range from one spot, it just burns away and cloaks. It burns out of your range and cloaks. It's a really, really tough system to beat.
Yeah, if you're able to go that fast and you're able to mount a cloak, you just get away, hit cloak, and then by the time that you actually slow down enough, nobody can find you. So you're good. So here are basically the fixes, right? This is the reality of the situation. I did not come up with these myself. We asked our best minds in our fitting team to basically say, okay, what do you guys think? What do you guys think? Blah, 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 blah. Now that we've seen this move from omens to cruiser hulls, the use of cloaking, it's fascinating. The meta is developing, and that's good. So here are the 3 fixes to get rid of this problem. To force there to be at least a kill mail at risk to hack things. Intosis mods should simply disable propulsion mods. You can have one active, you can have an MWD, you can have an afterburner on your ship, all you want. The moment you start hacking, it stops working. Why? Because if you're hacking something, you should have a group of people there guarding you. And if you don't, you take the risk to get the reward of having your ship being able to be engaged in combat like that.
See, I think disabling prop mods would be okay, but maybe like MWDs are what's out of hand. Is the upsized MWDs. Like you have the 50 MN Sweeple or the 500 MN Omen.
That's true. I mean, an afterburner could be okay. You could have it such that, it doesn't work. Maybe there's an interference between the hacking drive and the MWD drive. So there are 3, so I'm just going to lay these out. But I think you're absolutely right. I hadn't thought about that, and I think that's quite interesting. Having MWDs not work, but afterburners
because you don't want to completely kill mobility. You don't want to completely cripple a ship.
That is true. You're absolutely right, and we don't want to be too heavy-handed with this. But what we do want to have is a system where somebody is creating command nodes, but they're also putting something at risk. They're putting something on the table in the hopes of getting a command node to spawn. So part 2 is simply saying that, okay, if you want to have a ship that has an Intosis module on it, it can't have a cloak that works on it. Part 3 And so you can take one of these, you can take all of these, mix them, mash them, what have you. Some sort of adjustment to propulsion, some sort of adjustment to cloaking, and some sort of adjustment to interdiction nullification. Because it's kind of silly that a ship can run around, be interdiction nullified, cloak, go 8,000 MS, and still do all this hacking crap. And basically risk nothing as a result.
I've said this like every single time we talk about interdiction nullification. It is the worst thing that they could have done to this game. I mean, like you have
putting that on interceptors is so ridiculous because on the T3s, on T3s at least, you do have to sacrifice a LowSec. I mean, excuse me, a low slot if you want to, have interdiction nullification. On interceptors, they're just like, hey, here's an added bonus. They were already pretty good ships in the first place, and now everything is PG keen, and you can do all this. And I don't know. I think it's a silly mechanic. I think that's been proven on the field. I don't know why it's.
I don't mind it. Honestly, I don't mind interdiction nullification, but put it on a shuttle. Let me gives people a space taxi that can go through bubbles. I'm happy. That's fine with that. But you have the interceptors, which out of the interceptors you get Fozzie claws, which were artillery claws that would warp in. Alpha, a logistics or a Hugin or just something they literally land, zonk something off the field and immediately fleet warp off.
Right.
And then out of that came Asher Alias's creation, which was the Ecm Bursting Interceptors, where you fleet warp a bunch of interceptors on top of a hostile logistics wing or hostile fleet, and you all Ecm burst, and it's an AoE module, so everything around there ends up getting jammed, and then you just fleet warp away. No big deal, because we can warp out of bubbles.
Yeah, that is absolutely ridiculous. Actually, somebody pointed out something in chat, and I want to briefly go back to it. NC. has actually moved in nullsec news that I forgot to mention because I started going into rant mode. That is my bad.
Don't let it happen again.
I'll try not to. I'll do my best. NC. has actually started taking space in Delve. A lot of things are reinforced over there. There's been a lot of turmoil in Pizza, which has had a change of leadership. Pizza Coalition is now being led by Lacko instead of When I Am in Space. And NC. has deployed to Soct and has been seen shooting Black Legion moons. So if you bring up your Delve map, we are having our usual, it's the summer, somebody's going to conquer Delve. Some things in EVE at least never change.
I'm just happy it's not me. There's so many fucking systems in Delve.
I know. At least this time it's not us. So let's go back to CCP, please. And I hope to see some sort of dev blog or something from CCP regarding all of this crap. Well, Indy tweeted that, right? I mean, he said that there's a dev blog coming.
Like, I mean, we get like honeypotted. I don't know if he's doing it just for retweets or what. Maybe there is no dev blog. He just can't get them Twitter stats.
Trolling everyone. I see how. But no, I mean, we're overdue for a dev blog.
Yeah. Well, CCP should theoretically get back for vacation probably this week, because I mean the Alliance tournament kicks off on the 15th, I believe, is the first weekend. Mm-hmm. So I mean they gotta start getting back to work soon. Summer is starting to wind down for Iceland, and June, July is their big vacation months.
Right.
So hopefully they get back on it, get their nose back on the grinder, and we'll see what happens.
Well, we should have, between that and also the pictures, another thing that we probably need to discuss is the fact that they've been releasing pictures of these new citadels, and the citadels
Man, you're jumping ahead.
Oh, sorry. Are we really?
Yeah, we're saving that for when Rick gets on.
Oh,
yes, Carneros wants to talk about it, so we're gonna wait.
See, this is the fault of my barista, because since I have coffee now, I'm excited about the way in which the Sov wars are going. I'm excited about the Entosis link tweaks. I'm excited about this hypothetical new dev blog that's supposed to be happening, hopefully. And I'm excited to see some iteration on the system, because I've always been a big fan of FozzieSov going somewhere and doing something. I just think that we're just not there yet, and there's a few tweaks away.
Yeah, that's actually my fault. I forgot to move it from CCP Please to the.
See, I was going to act like it was my fault.
I'll dive on that grenade. I'll take that. It's my fault, guys.
I was being all kind. We do have some organization here, surprisingly enough.
We get like a spreadsheet and bar napkin and shit written all over it. I mean,
a spreadsheet and a bar napkin. That's Eve for you.
And it's a spreadsheet drawn on a bar napkin, actually.
Well, speaking of role playing and things that CCP has been doing,
you're gonna start LARPing for us. Oh wait, no, you're talking about Eve. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. Come on, man, get with the program. So we have an interesting thing where, like, the CCP community team, I assume this is the community team, has been doing a really great job playing up things with the Amara Empress, because I heard a rumor that the Imperium is totally not going to be invading Providence once we figure out how FozzieSov works. So everybody has kind of given up and not really doing anything with that anymore. But regardless of that, CCP's community team has been making Jamal Sarum, the Amar Empress, undock on a Titan, and now, as of just yesterday, there was this massive brawl between the Drifters and the NPC spawned Amar Navy.
Yeah.
It's a throwdown, and
Amar Navy get their asses kicked, basically.
Well, I mean, if you have a fleet battle against Drifters and they have like portable doomsday devices, like, but that is really interesting, and I think that it'll dovetail nicely. It is really great to see CCP have such an engaged community team and have these kind of live events happening again. Live events got a bad name back in the day because they were run by player volunteers that ended up being associated with Band of Brothers and the Aurora program way back when, and all that got wiped out. But community team, I think CCP Falcon is the head of it, and you see CCP Guard and a few other CCP Affinity, all great people, all really engaged with the community, and I just. Some people blow this stuff off as being like, oh, well, CCP made a bunch of ships fight another bunch of ships and whatever. But I think it's really cool. Like, I mean, I think it's nice to actually have the lore that we used to be published in random stories have tangible, events reflected in the game.
We need to try to get CCP Falcon or Affinity on here.
I completely agree. Falcon has been on the Meta Show before, and it is always a delight to have him. Maybe next time we will actually have a webcam for him.
Maybe. All right.
Maybe.
So I'm going to shut this guy up, and we're going to get Rick Reynolds, Carneros, on here. So, guys, give me just a minute. We're going to get him on, who, if you don't know Rick Reynolds, we're going to do a short intro for him, and we'll just jump straight into it. Technology is hard.
It is. It is. It really is.
Now, hopefully my OBS doesn't crash this time.
That was interesting, actually, because CCP Master Plan, of course, was too strong for us and too strong for our internet. There we go. Success. And now we're going to do a little bit of screen region. Toast to Rick. There we have, he has his drink and I have mine. And
we're good. We're on.
Laz just made us disappear. And so everybody can hear us talk.
No, everything's up. We're live again.
Oh, we are live.
Yeah. I've got this shit going smooth now.
Excellent. You have, don't you? And we even have a patio cam, so everybody, you can see one of the Imperium's command centers out there in San Diego, and everybody is having, Carneros is extremely lucky because he is there, and Laz and I are here stuck in our home base stations, which are not nearly as awesome as the patio. Thank you for making it today, Rick.
Oh, thank you. It's actually really nice to be sitting here comfortable. IT guys ready to hook me up, cocktails handed to me. Oh, would you like to try this hors d'oeuvre, sir? I like it.
Man.
It's not bad. Not bad.
I like your shirt, sir.
Thank you.
Darius Johnson.
If you ever find yourself in Southern California on one of our streaming days, you're a fool if you don't make time in your schedule to come out to the patio.
The patio is amazing. We have some
life-changing.
There. Yes. It really is. So I suppose we should do a quick introduction here, just so everybody those people who do not know who Carneros is. Carneros, of course, has been with us for a very long time, and he leads an alliance in the Imperium called the Bastion. And before that, in another life, he was with CCP as CCP Zinfandel, was with them for many years, and has been just a games industry veteran and has done a lot of amazing things even before he was in the games industry, like Rick's stories, the people that he knows, the places he has been, the languages he speaks. It is really kind of humbling and awesome to hang out and hear these things.
He's also the nicest person in the world. I mean, just throwing that out there.
In case we haven't given him enough of an intro. Yeah. So we're going to ask Rick a few questions about what it's like to lead Alliance in the Imperium, and then we are going to shut up, which is going to be hard because coffee. And let him tell us things. So, Laz, do you want to take us away?
Yeah, before we jump into the actual Alliance leader stuff, I want to go ahead and hit on part of the CCP Please, which I forgot to move last time, which was the Citadels. So the new Citadels, I want to make sure you throw that up there, let everyone take a look at that, and just get your opinion on it.
Do you have a picture up for them?
I do in just a second. I had it set up for the
other
other
section.
section.
There. Tell me if
so demanding!
I know. You guys in the audience, tell me if you agree with me that there's something about this design of these citadels that reminds you of the best parts of the design of the bar guest, but without some of the awkward bits in it. To me, it just, I can see, I don't know if they share a design heritage, maybe the same, one of the same directors or what, but there's something about it that really speaks to me about those structures, and it's the same part about the bar guest that speaks to me.
It kind of makes me want pancakes.
Well, the extra large Citadel, the one on top, there used to be an old graphics bug where the Leviathan would get all its textures screwed up and go all different directions. That's what it looks like. It looks like the Leviathan's having a graphics bug.
No, I disagree. I think they look great. I'm so excited. The Bastion has ordered 2 smalls, 2 mediums, and 13 larges already.
Wow.
My logistics team are shaking their head and waiting to see what the dev blogs actually look like. But comment about how crazy I am, but I'm looking forward to them.
Well,
I think that the smallest one actually reminds me of. Do you remember that the what were they called? The ships that the Citadel used in the fleet in the Mass Effect games, actually, the Asari ships. It looks like one of the small ones actually looks like an Asari dreadnought. Yeah. Interesting design, and I'm really curious to see. I mean, this is the other half of FozzieSov. Like, this is the promised. First, we're getting the wacky capture mechanics with all the problems and what have you, and then we've been sort of told, you got the stick first, but we swear there's a carrot on the horizon.
I wonder to what degree they're waiting for some of the structures to come in before they balance the first parts. Because I know that we're only seeing a part of the design; it's not all implemented, and I know that they feel that some of it is not quite where they want it to be yet. I mean, they have to. So they have choices with, do we start tuning now or wait till all the puzzle pieces are on the table first before we start tuning? And that's I don't have any insights into that. I'm not quietly talking to CCP people behind the scenes about their thoughts about this design. I'm giving them space on this.
I wish that you were. I mean, because you've always given excellent advice, and I think that they could use your counsel and sort of our collective time and
making me blush.
Oh, that's excellent. That's excellent.
No, I'm really excited about the Citadels. For those you don't know, the Citadels are going to be introduced where they have like a fitting screen where you can fit different armaments, missiles, drones, doomsday devices on the extra larges. I mean, they're supposed to be replacing passive stations, and you're gonna be able to drop them basically anywhere with a few limited requirements. So it's really gonna be interesting to see how in depth they're gonna go with this first iteration of Citadels, and hopefully, I know at FanFest they said that we will see the first deployable before year's end.
That's going to be really interesting, because one of the things that we've seen with TCUs in the new FozzieSov system is that you can place a TCU at a tower, and so you don't really see too much in the way of like trollceptors or any of that sort of nonsense, because there's a tower with guns that shoots it. And so if we get these things at a reasonable time and they're not useless for this purpose, you could potentially put one by an iHub or by a station to sort of provide a static defense mechanism. That could be a solution. It'd be very interesting to see.
Yeah, so speaking of FozzieSov and the Citadels and new stuff coming, so as an alliance leader, Rick or Carneros, whichever you prefer, what are some of the strategies for balancing and focusing on defense as well as offense as an alliance leader?
Well, there depends on a little bit on what part of your alliance you're speaking to at a given moment. If I'm talking to the logistics guys, I'm telling them, just hang on, wait till the structures come, this will get more interesting. If I'm talking to my PvP pilots or my industrial guys and stuff, the industrial guys, I'm telling them, please move around. Don't just pick your favorite system and eat all the rocks that spawn in your favorites. No, move around. At least pick 2 days a week and pick a random spot and do it there based on who needs the index raised. If I'm talking to the PvP players, I'm saying, I'm saying things like, don't make really long fleets, make short ones for the period of our vulnerability. Take little breaks in between, let people switch up and switch out. Try not to give them all jump fatigue at the end of your fleet. Try to do it at the beginning of your fleet if you're going to do it. It's okay to jump on people if you want to, hot drop and stuff like that, but please try to do it towards the beginning. And then you can go and have fun once the chores are done. Unfortunately, there's a lot of chores.
More and more, yeah.
There's parts of FozzieSov. I don't know if like me, you've ever had this fantasy of getting a lot of money and buying a whole hotel, and then having all your friends move into all the rooms and all hanging out and having fun together. Well, starting a nullsec alliance is a little bit like that. You go get a piece of Sov somewhere, you set up your hotel, all your friends move in, you all get to live together in space. And then FozzieSov is a little bit like a constant. It's like you opened up a bed and breakfast and you have a constant stream of strangers coming in very quickly, making an indiscreet mess on your carpet and then leaving very quickly. And you're constantly having to clean up. And you get very good at how fast you can pull out your mop or your Hoover if you're English, or your vacuum cleaner if you're American, and trying to clean up the mess. And then every now and then you get some bright-eyed new player who comes in and joins your alliance and says, "Can we upgrade the carpets?" And you're like, "Oh, dude, no."
So someone in chat just
Where did you come from?
someone in chat just expounded on your hotel idea. FozzieSov is a Motel 6.
Yes.
Wow.
It gets better. It gets better.
It fits. It fits.
It's gonna improve. You're seeing it at its worst. This is first thing in the morning with no makeup on. It will get better. I trust me.
Yeah,
Well, that's, it's like
At least you get to hang out with your friends.
that is true. I mean, it's one of those things where, like, instead of, for me, when I was younger, I just wanted to open a nightclub, and it is kind of the same scenario. The metaphor works surprisingly well because, you know, some nights you're hanging out with all of your buddies in your club and everything's great, and then random people come in and, like, puke in the toilets and then make a gigantic mess, and then they leave.
If
You
they're
never see
even
them
so
again.
lucky as to make it that far.
Exactly. If they make it all the way to the toilets, and then you're like, wow, well, I've got to get a mop and a bucket. And
It sounds like
that's-
you Laz the Madison Goop.
Yeah, exactly. I dodged all that at the Madison Goop, thankfully, but it was a near thing. But Rick,
And
why don't you?
Sometimes when you're the alliance leader, the buck stops with you. So if no one else wants to do something, you're the one
You
who has
gotta
to get out
clean
there
it up.
quick.
Exactly.
Yeah.
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 That's a good segue as well, because one of the things we
Yes,
wanted
sir.
to ask you about is what can you tell us about, like, what is it like just a day in the life of being an autocrat in the Imperium?
Well, you stay plugged in all the time. So you get up, you go to work in the morning, you have Jabber running, you have Skype running, you can't log into the game all the time because you have to work a day job. You know, I'm not independently wealthy. But I've got Jabber running the whole time while I'm working in a different game company. They're okay with it. So people are asking you questions, and you are in, like, feels like 100 different channels, and they're asking you logistics questions or finance questions or political questions or military questions. Can we switch to Drakes now for one of our doctrines? No, you can't have Drakes yet.
FC, can I bring my Drake? No, go the fuck away!
It's like that. And you got other people saying, he took my ice mining, whatever. And you got other people saying, GigX said something mean to me in local. I'm like, try not to talk to him in local if you can. You know, there's a constant stream of people PMing you, and often you'll have them waiting in a queue to talk because you can only divide so much attention among people. And you got a queue here, queue in Skype. You have people sending you messages and stuff, and you have your day job, and your boss walks in the room. Like that during the day. At lunchtime, I'm lucky that my lunchtime at work matches up with European Prime. So there'll be cool fleets called by FCs I love to fly under. And then I'll take a break from work, and I'll load up Eve, and I'll get in, I don't know, Black Ops battleship or whatever, and jump on someone or pull up a Titan and show off and then coworkers will walk in and I go, want to see my Titan? You know, I know, famous.
Is that innuendo or you mean your Titan?
Whatever. Yeah. They get a kick out of that at work. And then, and then it's back to work. And then I get home and I'll drive home from work. I'll get out of rush hour traffic. I'm still unclenching from rush hour traffic, and I'll go inside and open a beer or whatever, and turn it all on. There'll be 10 people waiting to talk to me, saying, "He charged me too much for my sinusoidal field generator." I'm like, "Oh, really?"
Wow.
You take those kind of calls, Rick. I mean, if somebody came to me with that, I would just be like, yeah, that's nice.
I don't very often. I don't,
So guys,
they
any
try,
more
they
writing
try.
drama?
And then we'll get in a fleet. And I trained my guys. I get in fleets every day. I'm in a PvP fleet every day, which is unusual for an alliance leader.
Logging
But,
is unusual for Alliance Leader. What are you talking about?
But what I'll do is, if you see my microphone muted in comms, don't talk to me. Just let me blow shit up. Okay?
I've got to jump in here. One of the best things that I've seen in chat here is from one of our subscribers, Joe Bethany, points out that basically it's like running a daycare with a few thousand toddlers, and that's just beautiful.
Yeah.
But some of the toddlers are worth tens of billions of ISK. And if you're not watching, they will drop their nicks and gem in it. You know, and you have to like, and they'll
It's like
drop
toddlers
it
with
on-
car keys to nuclear weapons and missile silos.
and they'll drop on a
stuff.
staging system. You know, not even like a quiet part of gemming it. They'll put it on this, you know, and you're like, oh Lord, did you just do that? Are we expected to save your bacon or go and whore on the kill?
Go and whore on the kill. Absolutely. They learn after that. You just go again. Like that's. But Rick is the nicest man in the world.
He is.
And I'm not. So.
See, I
our
can
alliance
dump
management
things.
styles are a little bit different. I mean, that's interesting. One of the things that's nice about the Imperium, I think some people disagree, is the fact that all of our alliances are run in completely different ways, and that we don't tell people how to run their alliances. So Carneros runs his shop, I run my shop, and everybody gets along.
Yeah, I mean the way
else
the way I run Goon Swarm is pretty similar to that.
the way you run Goon Swarm. Thank you, Laz. Well, actually,
Thanks, Laz.
that's another subtle segue for us. Is one of the things that's difficult about being an alliance leader in general is not just like the daycare aspect of it, but when there's times of change and transition. Goonswarm has it easy because we have mega corporations as the anchor in the middle of it. But most alliances have many different corporations making them up. Carneros, have you noticed that corporations like CEOs will get anxious in times of transition, and what have your experiences with that been? Deal with that.
Well, what happens is people feel things changing around them and feel like they don't have a lot of control over the changes, and they wish they could. All of the, half of them wish they were on the CSM, and that the CSM had a magic wand and could force CCP to make changes. Half of them, they all wish they could change something. The ones that can't change CCP then want to change other things. Let's change the CEO of our corp. That's always a recipe for success. Or let's move our corp to this other alliance over here. It's only like 10 jumps away, but the grass is greener in space somehow. Or they'll do things like they don't want to move. Hello. They'll do things like we want to make a change. We don't want to change us. Let's change them. That non-performing corp. Let's kick them out. Send them somewhere else. Really? Do you even know what those people do? There's that kind of thing going on. Or there's lots of, or I'll get executives changing positions within the alliance leadership. Oh, if I just change this, if I go from logistics to finance, I'll be happier. No, it's FozzieSov, son. It's not your job.
I love that you added the sun to the end of it.
That's excellent. I think that Rick is slowly getting corrupted by contact with me. It's not that way, son. You gotta. Next thing you know, you're gonna have a commissar pistol.
Some of the members could be my grandchildren. Actually, we won't mention that, but it's true.
Well,
it's true.
It's funny because you mentioned like grandchildren, but like the average average user for Eve is like 32 or 33.
34, I think now.
Oh yeah,
that's sun range.
Okay. Oh shit! Then I'm a babby.
You are a babby.
Yeah, that's all good.
So, have you found that just another question here? Have you, one of the things I have found recently in FozzieSov is that I'm constantly logging in more than I was before with one of my administrative characters, not on Mittens himself. But it seems like we're not just to transfer iHubs and structures between corporations within Goonswarm. But one of the things we've noticed is that we can't transfer SOV between alliances at all. Have you been impacted by that?
A little bit. Yeah. For one thing, we did have one group that said we want to practice owning a piece of land. We want to take this constellation and we want to, and it's not particularly attractive constellation. Okay, great. You can take it, you can own it, you can farm it, you can raise the activity defense modifiers and go for it. Would you transfer the iHubs to us so that we can upgrade them ourselves? Sure, you can have more sense of ownership. Love it. I'll do that. So you go in to do it. I have to pay a bill to be able to transfer the iHubs.
Right.
Okay. I'm not saying we're rich, but we're okay. I mean, we're not hurting for money. So I'm like, pay, transfer. Okay, good, you're good. I didn't explain to them that they're going to need to, that's going to generate a new bill and they're going to have to pay it right away too, again. Not that it makes sense that you paid a bill and then 2 days later you have to have paid the bill again. I mean, there's no logic to it. And it's different people and they don't all see all the different bills. All right. Well, the first iHub, they stuffed all full of things and it popped the next day because they didn't understand that. Would you transfer another iHub? We put a new one down. Okay, yes. So I'm running in and out, transferring stuff around. Yeah. And I'm touching the money in the accounts, which I don't normally do. Normally, people do that for me. And then every now and then they give me 50 billion ISK and say, go put this somewhere safe for us so no one steals it. Okay, I could do that.
Right.
I have little like cubby holes where I put cookies, bottles of expensive wine, and billions of ISK.
As one should. As one should.
And so I'm moving stuff around. I have to do more of that kind of stuff. You're right. And then we agreed with our next door neighbors to trade a sit-in system between us. And I talked to my logistics guys the week before FozzieSov, and they said, instead of doing our traditional transfer, let's hold it deliberately, wait till FozzieSov, and do the transfer within the new rules as a learning experience. Okay, sold. It was a pain in the ass.
Slight pain or like a major pain?
It was a pain in the ass.
And for Rick Reynolds, it was a pain in the ass.
We won't go into more detail than that, but
That's
it's not my
the
first
most
rodeo.
negative thing that you could.
Yeah. So,
Oh
Wow.
so we will. Hopefully that went over some head. We went through the whole scenario, and it was not fun. And we got to the very last section, and I will admit that I did send a little PM to Fozzie at the end of the last section on Facebook, and I said, "Hey, bro, this needs tuning." All right. But anyway, we just needs a little tuning. It's not all there yet the way you envision it. Sent that off. But you know, there eventually, hopefully, there will be a mechanism put in so you can do a friendly transfer. For example, there are a lot of people who think X organization is too large. Okay, we're something like the, I don't know, 6th or 7th largest LowSec alliance. Pretty good, pretty big. If we wanted to split into 2 alliances, we can't divide up our space and split it up nicely. There's no way to like share your inheritance between 2 heirs.
Right.
Nothing like that. Has to all you can combine things, but you can't split anything up because there's no such thing as a friendly transfer.
Well,
and just not paying the bill doesn't help.
Oh wow.
Will not change the map.
Really? Huh.
No.
And also you don't control that, like because you also have to wait until the bill comes due. So like even if you do,
even if the bill comes due and you don't pay it and you let everything blow up, you're still stuck with that system on the map, and it will not go away unless you're like friends in NC Dot or Triumvirate or somebody come over and blow the thing up for you.
So here's a question then.
We may have to do that for each other in the future.
Before you jump into that, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and start our giveaway process. And
I want something. I'm just
kidding.
kidding.
Want something? Well,
we have a lot of giveaways.
I won a Balgorn in a different meta show not that long ago. So
that's right. I remember that one.
I still look at it and smile.
Excellent. This is a very, very awesome ship. So, guys, the giveaways we're going to be giving away today is a battle cruiser poster set. Really cool battle cruisers, which I will drop the link in chat after I finish here. Then we're also giving away an EVE Collector's Edition.
Sweet.
And the EVE Universe art book, Art of New Eden.
The limited edition Art of Eden. There are only 2001 of these books. They're these massive hardcovers. They're really cool. The poster set is also like again, like actual physical posters. This isn't some sort of in-game thing, and it's a picture in profile. I think Rick Strabix was the guy who actually designed these things originally, and it's just a really cool thing that CCP has given to us to give back to our community. Thank you so much to CCP for helping sponsor the Meta Show, in addition to Razer headsets, and I can't really show it to you without screwing up the sound, but Blue Microphones has begun. This is my Yeti. I love it. It's awesome.
That is beautiful.
And they are now also helping sponsor TMC. So thanks to all of our sponsors, and now let's give away some swag to the boys.
Yeah, so guys, go ahead and type in chat. Make sure you're following the channel. If you're not following the channel, you cannot win. And like I said, quick shout out to Blue Yeti. I use the Blue Yeti. It is probably the best. It is actually the best USB condenser mic you can get. About $120. If you're looking for a condenser mic, go ahead and pick that up. Get a pop filter for it, and boom, you're good to go. But like before going into that, I wanted to bring up the you're talking about FozzieSov. What would you like to see changed first on it?
Besides the well, not just first, but I mean, what, Rick, besides just transferring things, like what are the other improvements that you would like to see?
Well, right now, the ships that come to my space, I mean, I'm not getting the 500 meganewton micro warp drive omens or whatever. I'm getting interceptors, and you will laugh at this part. I'm getting reapers. I'm getting noob ships with Sinos, with Entosis modules on it.
Wow.
Those ones, though, will sneak in the front gate from LowSec, and they'll go to like the first or the second station in a quiet area and try there. You know, but it's still like making a mess on your carpet, and you have to go and clean it up. You know, it's still that kind of stuff. And then other people are running around in interceptors and various things really fast over here. And you know, do you know how many fights I've gotten out of it?
How many fights? That
0.
is the thing that our Reavers have been saying too.
No one
is
gives
that
you
new
a
system,
fight.
There's no fights at all. Either they run away, they all
even
run
the
away. They don't risk
ones
anything.
that come with an amazing fleet through a wormhole, and they'll stack up a gorgeous fleet on the other side of the wormhole, and they'll put a couple ships through and go start something. Even though they're not giving us a fight, the only fights we get are for people who don't care anything about Sov structure or Entosis and don't have an Entosis in their fleet. They're the only ones that give us a fight.
Yeah, because I mean, if you're fitting in a Entosis League, it's not really something you're looking for a brawl. You're looking to hack and run away.
Yeah.
So, actually, a good point before we go into our giveaways. Java Junkie is pointing out here in chat that I wonder where that amazingly sexy TMC blue polo that Rick got.
If you
get that.
want it, I'll take it off and mail it to you.
Ooh, baby. He's gonna show us his Titan.
And I'm Jesus Christ.
When he doesn't have a little pain in his ass, he's gonna show us his Titan. Anyway,
dude. All right. So I'm going to go to the next
If you go to Zazzle.com and you type in the Mittani, it will do a search on the Mittani, and you'll come up with all kinds of cool stuff. I have a gorgeous coffee mug I drink from every day at work.
And it's linked in
Occasionally
chat.
people ask me about it. I meant to bring it today and drink in front of it, but I was making guacamole for the patio and forgot all about the coffee mug.
Look at the amazing.
Oh yeah, here's another one. Check out this one.
It's another one that's beautiful. I love
Yep.
it.
All right, guys, so I'm going to do the first giveaway. First giveaway is going right now. It's going to be the poster set. We're giving away the poster set to all of our viewers. So make sure, if you haven't typed in chat, you're going to miss out doing the roll. And the winner is Seabass SA. Seabass, who's actually on the patio right now. On the patio.
What was that?
He had the poster set.
He's sitting over there, ladies and gentlemen, and he's handsome.
Seabass is old school. He's been with us for a very long time. Congratulations, Seabass. And what is next?
The next is going to be the Evil Line Collector's Edition. Evil Line Collector's Edition.
Second decade Collector's Edition with a Rifter USB hub. These things are massive. They got a board game in them. Are we doing a subscriber-only giveaway for the
art book?
Or for the
art book? We are.
Okay, Collector's Edition. All you have to do is follow the channel. If you can't be bothered to follow our channel, then screw you.
Doing the roll.
Let's do it.
The Sophist. Oh, not fallen. Rip. Gruts and Eve, buddy, you've won. You have won the Collector Edition of EVE Online. Guys, all you guys are winning today. Make sure you mail the channel with your personal details. We need your name, address, all that stuff, so we can send you a physical package.
Yeah, I've got to send that to the actual Twitch channel. Don't put it in chat. You need to give your name, your address, so we can mail the sucker to you. And finally, we're going to go into subscribers only mode for the super limited edition Art of Eve source book, which there are only 2001 copies.
Chat.
of which we have a big pile. Subscribers, you need to make sure that you are active in chat and telling us all how much you obey HypnoKitten. Never not obey HypnoKitten. And people who are active in chat will be available for winning that. If you're not typing, you're not active, and you're not going to be in the drawing. That's the rules.
Yep. So, guys, I'm going to give you guys about 20 seconds to do this. Actually, less than that, because we have about a minute left before we have to go off. And like I said, Rick, thank you so much for joining us today from the patio.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
And Mittani, I guess, thanks for coming on. I mean,
Thanks for coming on to the Meta Show, Mittens. Not like you haven't been here and run your mouth too much, and we're late because I talk too much. Let's give something away. Let's do it.
Yes. So doing the roll for our subs, guys. Damian Dixon, you've won the collector's the limited
Damian
edition.
Dixon.
Limited edition Art of New
You
Eden.
typed la la la. Go ahead and make sure to message our channel with your personal details so we can mail you the limited edition Art of Eve book. Thank you so much for subscribing and following. We love it. We love you. We love
Alright,
it.
guys. So we're out of here. We actually just hit our time limit, so we'll see you guys later. Make sure you tune in for the rest of our
Lineup?
lineup. I think we have 9 hours left or something like that.
Yeah,
so
it's a crazy
we'll see you
marathon.
guys later.